What's going on, guys? 8BitGlitch79 here, and we're back for the 12 Nostalgic Days of Christmas, day number 5. I hope you enjoyed all the memories our guests have shared up to this point, and I hope you've enjoyed my memories. So with that, guys, let's kick it off to our first guest. Our first guest is actually a duo. It's Co-ople of Nerds, and they're no strangers to the 12 Nostalgic Days of Christmas. This is their second appearance on this series. So let's see what Fresh and Mary got to say.
Hey, it's your boy Fresh.
And I'm Mary, and we are a Co-ople of Nerds. And 8-Bit Glitch invited us again this year to his 12 Nostalgic Days of Christmas. So today, we are going to be talking about something around Christmas time that makes us nostalgic.
Mm-hmm. So yours is a little more heartfelt than mine, so I'll do my silly one first. So there was a toy series that I absolutely loved as a kid. It was called the Extreme Ghostbusters. So that was it's a cartoon based on the movie, but it had its own series and its own characters.
I loved that show.
They are currently redoing the Extreme Ghostbusters line. Now these toys are our 2-year-old son's, and I am not forcing my childhood on him. He picked these out himself.
He did.
So we got here, and that's why they're not in, boxes where Jesus wants them to be. We got the Marshmallow Man.
He loves watching that scene from Ghostbusters too. He
Yeah.
wants to watch the Marshmallow Man, and then he explodes and marshmallow goes everywhere.
Who doesn't want to eat marshmallow off a building now?
I honestly think that would have been like a really fun thing. Just tons of marshmallow, just covered in marshmallow. Eat your
Unless
way
it's
out.
really hot.
Yeah, I don't want it to be super hot.
And then just a regular toilet, eh?
He thinks that's so funny. And I'm talking about our 2-year-old.
It still cracks me out.
It does.
I don't know. I'm sure there was at least one episode in the series that had this monster toilet.
Yeah,
but
I don't remember
just
it.
as a toy, it's so funny. And it's going to be hard to get on camera, but as you roll it, his mouth and
opens and
upper
shuts.
decker will open up. But so those are available now. We get them at Walmart to keep him quiet when he's screaming in the cart. I don't have any of the heroes yet because villains are cooler. Prove me wrong.
I like the heroes sometimes. So, for my nostalgic remembrance, it's the Peeper Pal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my last Christmas with my mother, my big gift that year was a Peeper Pal. And it was this puppy that was dressed in pajamas. And when you squeezed his belly, his eyes opened up and they were like flashlights, kind of, or they lit up. And I was just so excited about that. I remember just sleeping at nighttime next to my Peeper Pal. And all I have left now are some pictures and the memories.
That's right. We have not been able to find a Peeper Pal.
You can find them on eBay.
They're very pricey.
They're pricey, and I haven't found a reasonable enough justification to get one.
Yeah.
Although I'm, it is very, very nostalgic for me. It would be something that, it would definitely be something that I would still want to share with my kids. So it's kind of like my Polly Pockets and my Barbies, as valuable as they may be to this day, and as much as, nostalgia as they still bring me, I would still share them with my kids.
Right. And the same thing with the Extreme Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Me and my cousin played with his all the time. I had a handful, but he had the majority of them, and now I get to play with them with my 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And hopefully into the future.
Yeah, and then our grandchildren.
Mm-hmm. And that Peeper Pal does like to watch you get dressed though too. So it's a little.
When you think about it, it looks slightly creepy, but I thought it was cute and fun.
All right, well, thank you, 8BitGlitch79, for inviting us again this year, and we hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Fresh, it's very interesting. I didn't know they were releasing more than just the Ghostbusters themselves in that toy series. Now, when I was a kid, I remember having that toilet, the original one. So that's pretty interesting. I'm going to have to look into that because I did not know they were expanding it that far out. And Mary, that peeper thing sounds kind of creepy. Why would you want something that's called a peeper? Ugh. Anyways, let's get that out of our minds. And let's move on to our second guest, Juliet-Juliet-IndiaMobile. He's no stranger to the channel. He's been a great supporter of myself and my channel, and I've loved the content that he puts out. I originally found him through VGM unboxings, but he does some great coverage of specific games and consoles. He's got a great overview on the Famicom system and all about that. So I would definitely check that out if I were you, and definitely check out his stuff. So with that, let's see what he's got to say.
Oh, hey. Yes, that time again is upon us. It is the time for 8-Bit Glitch 79's 12 nostalgic days of Christmas yet again. And when he put out an all call for content creators to submit videos, I had to go ahead and make a submission. So, what do I feel nostalgic about during Christmas time, or what do I just generally feel nostalgic about? Well, I'll tell you what I feel nostalgic about, mostly around Christmas time. And that is this movie right here, A Christmas Story. If you guys have never watched A Christmas Story, you are doing yourself a disservice. You really need to go watch this movie. It's pretty awesome, trust me. The reason why this is very nostalgic for me is because this movie kind of taught me a lesson as a kid. Growing up, I, like many of you guys, grew up on the other side of the tracks. We didn't have very much money, and what little money we did have was, not enough to cover what we did have. So, growing up, Christmas was never that, oh my god, I'm gonna get that extra hot, awesome Christmas item under my tree. It was always kind of one of those things where it's like, it was a surprise what I got, and I was happy with what I got. And really, that's kind of where this movie comes into play for me. As with other Christmas movies, everything's all about the miracles in Christmas and Santa Claus and blah, 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 blah. But in this case, this movie just kind of taught me the most important part of Christmas is just spending time with your family. Bad things do happen. Hiccups happen, but that's okay because it's just about having fun. And it makes me really think about my dad, who took really good care of me. And he tried the best that he could, and it took me until my adult years to realize how well he actually was trying to take care of me, especially during the holidays. And I'm just so grateful for everything that he did. And watching this movie, like I said, for all the quirks that comes along, it's got a humbling message to it, and I really do appreciate that. And I watched this movie with my daughter, so I'm hoping she gets the same thing. We're better off than I was as a kid, a lot better off than I was as a kid. So it's nice for her to have that, but I hope that the humbled experience is there for her when she grows up and if she decides to have kids. So thank you, 8-Bit Glitch 79, for asking me to make a submission, and as well as the other content creators. Thank you all, and Merry Christmas.
Dude, that movie is such a classic, and you know it's a classic when they run the damn thing for 24 hours straight, starting Christmas Eve into Christmas. That's, to be honest, I never saw that as a kid. I didn't see that until I was older, very much older. Like, I'm talking like college time or so. I think it was my roommate who talked about it a lot, and I was like, okay. So then I watched it, and I was like, this is a great movie. Why have I never seen this? And now my dad loves it too. He watches it on that 24-hour thing. He keeps it on all day. He loves that. All right, guys. So I guess it's time for me to pick my item, and going off of Juliet's video about the Christmas Story, I kind of picked this, which is a more modern movie because it's about nostalgia. And it kind of has a relationship to the Christmas Story, and that is the new movie 8-Bit Christmas. Now, this obviously is not a real copy of it. This is a fake mock-up I made for the video and stuff, basically. But anyways, I chose to pick this movie because people compared it to A Christmas Story with a little bit of Princess Bride as far as telling the story to a kid. But heavily the Christmas Story about how it's a kid, grown up rather, telling a story about when he was a kid and being narrated throughout it and stuff. So So since it's very related to the Christmas Story and Juliet talked about it, I figured I would talk about it and how it made me feel nostalgia. Now I know a lot of some people were kind of negative about it and thought this movie wasn't what they expected it to be or what they wanted it to be. I mean, some people just liked it, and which is fine and stuff. And about inaccuracies and things like that. Like with the Cabbage Patch Dolls being 83, not during the Nintendo. But you know what? They needed to include something for the daughter to be thrilled and excited about, and what screams 80s like craze, just like they wanted to depict was Cabbage Patch Doll kids. I mean, they just had to include it. And you know what? Maybe some people who are watching this, some moms, hell, some boys even, some guys watching this who wanted Cabbage Patch Dolls, it's gonna bring them into it and make them feel nostalgic. So give it a break, all right? It's a movie. It's not a documentary, okay? It's just about celebrating the 80s and the drive of a kid wanting something so bad. Anyways, I digress. I love this movie. I thought it was very nostalgic to me. My oldest definitely loved it. My 10-year-old. We're going to watch it again. I've already watched this 3 times. We're probably going to watch it again soon. But anyways, I loved it because I connected so well with the main character, the kid. A lot of the things he was going through and went through in this movie, I actually went through in a sense. The way he had to wear cheap clothes and because his family couldn't afford it, and the new hip clothes and stuff like that. That was me. I was dressed like the 60s when it was the 80s, because that's just what my parents thought was cool and did when I was a kid. I was definitely not with the times. Having to fight to get his own NES because his parents, in this case, weren't going to buy him one because they didn't want one in the house or whatever. And by case, it was we couldn't afford one. So if I wanted an NES, I was fighting to get one some way or another. And if you've watched this series, you know my very first time I did this series, my very first episode, I talked about how I acquired my NES. And I urge you to go back and check that out. Because I definitely walked uphill both ways in a snowstorm to get my NES, for true. So go back and check that episode out if you want to know the story behind that. But having to go over other people's houses that had NESs just to get the chance to even play one was a big part of my life. What else in this movie? I don't know, just a lot of the school trip to the big city. That's the only way I got to see like Boston and stuff when I was a kid. Was school trips and stuff like that, and they caused some mischief when they're there. And I admit we caused some mischief as well, being out and about in the big city. But anyways, I could go on and on, but I don't want to give any spoilers to people who haven't seen this. But just know the fact that when I watched this, I felt like I was watching my own childhood before my eyes. Like they filmed my childhood. Now it's over exaggerated. Yes, it's a movie. That's what they're going to do. They're entertaining you. Did they not really show great gameplay of the Nintendo? In fact, they showed games that didn't even exist in some cases. So what? That's not the point of the movie. This isn't The Wizard, okay? This isn't an ad for Nintendo or anything. This is about a child and his drive to get something that he wanted. It just happened to be an NES in this case. So you got to look at it from that point of view. I know they used the word 8-bit Christmas, but they're just trying to draw you in. You know what I mean? By the title. I mean, that's all I got to say about it. I'm just saying that I enjoyed this movie. It was very nostalgic to me. It brought back a lot of memories of my childhood. And as far as I'm concerned, they did a great job for me personally. You might not have connected with it. It might not have been relatable to you in your situation, but for me, it was very relatable to me growing up. So I just wanted to share that since it very connected with what Juliet was talking about with the Christmas Story. So with that, guys, until tomorrow's episode, I'm glitching out.